What's going on, Rails Rants Reloaded? Appreciate y'all coming to the channel. First, can you like and subscribe and share? Help me get the channel big. I appreciate those that are following and leaving comments and looking at the videos. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, but I appreciate y'all so much. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to get right into it. What we're going to talk about today is getting into the mind of a Trump supporter. Donald Trump is the president. There's nothing we can do about that. They just impeached him. Probably won't get through the Senate. That is what it is. But what I want to talk about is kind of not. It's not going to be a direct comparison of the politics of Barack Obama and Donald Trump, but the acceptance on one side and the excuses on one side and the blatant hate on the other side. Now, like I said, Donald Trump is the president, and he is the commander in chief, and his followers are they're on the cusp of being cultish, like Jimmy Jones, cultish, and they always got some cockamamie excuse. I'll be on Facebook and something political comes up, and it's always some one-sided, at the end of the day, slick racist talk without being directly racist or bigoted or spewing bigotry. And I'm like, you know what? Y'all always got something to say about Obama. And somebody came up with this bullshit out their mouth. Oh, y'all had Obama, why we can't have Trump? And I'm like, you know what? All the other presidents besides Obama was white. So y'all been running the shit for the beginning of it. And my thing is this, even if you didn't like Obama, let black people, white people and black people, well, let's get to the white people first. White people will not let black people have Obama. And some black people won't let other black people have Obama. You might have a problem with what he didn't do for African Americans. You may have a problem with what he did for the gays and lesbians and didn't do for the African Americans. At the end of the day, a lot of black people were just happy to live in a world, in a country that was created off of slavery, racism, and off of the free labor of black people's backs. With all the stuff that's happened, and it hasn't been that long, from the 50s and the 60s. It's only 2019, 2020 being 2 weeks. A lot of black people were just proud to say, you know what? We live in a country where the police are beating our ass. We've been called nigger since the beginning of existence. We were told that a nigger would never be in the White House. And then we got the first African American president to be in the White House and run the country for 8 years. That's a big thing, whether you liked them or you didn't like them. At the end of the day, it's politics. No one is going to like everyone's politics. Why couldn't we just have that? Why couldn't y'all give us that? It's like, and you know what the funny thing is? It's like something that Dr. Umar Johnson said when Obama was in office. He was like, after Obama's in office, whoever gets in office after him is going to go all out, unapologetic, and not give a fuck. And underlying tone is going to be, we gave y'all a nigga in the presidency. Now, don't he didn't give y'all shit. Don't expect me to give y'all shit. And I understand that, but it's like, why we just couldn't have that? Why does it always have to come back to Obama? Obama didn't pay off prostitutes to have sex with him. He didn't have no sort of Ukrainian shit going on. And if they don't talk about Obama, they talk about Hillary Clinton. Why couldn't we just have, we had 4 years of no scandal, we had 4 years of no shit. Like I said, if you don't like his politics, you don't have to like his politics. It's no politician that everybody likes every move that they make. And that's all right. But with that being said, like I said, black people were just so proud to have an African American, the first African American, in the White House. Then after that, and Barack Obama being the first African American in the White House is like the second coming of the Civil Rights Bill being passed. Because after he became president, all of a sudden, everybody else felt that they deserved to. Gays, Hispanics, women, and they do. He gave the example that it could happen. But when, like I've said in other videos, when black people do something, other races, nationalities, genders, and groups feel that it is now their time to do it also. With that being said, it's like we had Obama. You couldn't just let us have Obama. Now, when the conversation comes up, it's always Obama did this, Obama did that, Obama did this. Like I said, a lot of black people and African American people and veterans were surprised that we had the first and lived through the first African American president. What's the white people's excuses for Donald Trump? What is the white people's excuses for wearing Make America Great Again hats? What does he represent that George Bush Jr. and Sr. didn't represent, or Ronald Reagan didn't represent? What does he represent that they didn't? He's a Republican, so-called Republican. I don't think he's a real Republican. I think he had to choose a party, and he knew he wasn't going to get no traction as running as a Democrat. But what do they get out of it? What do they get out of Donald Trump calling ex-senators that died, saying that they probably went to hell? What do they get out of that? Talking about people with handicaps and going like this. What do they get out of that? What do they get out of putting stickers on the back of their car? Trump keeping America great until 2020. And what are they getting out of that? What is the reason that they're supporting this shit so hard that it's like a cult? I'm starting to think, and I got a whole bunch of rednecks that I work with. Some of them got that Trump 2020 Keeping America Great sticker on the back of their truck. And I'm figuring out, to me, I'm like, yo, that's some shit for some good old boy shit. You get pulled over by the police. It's like having a daggone a person in the police department. A get out of jail free card. Not literally jail free card, but oh, I'm running with our guy. See, when Obama got elected and Obama ran, black people were behind him because he's a black man. And he was the first black man. He was the first black man that was going to catch traction behind Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and anybody else that has run for president that was a black person. It ain't have nothing to do with racism. It didn't have nothing to do with black people thinking that they're better than white people, or it was just, you know what? We can do this. This is showing America that, yo, we could get a piece of the pie too. Even if you don't like what he did in his 8 years. We had our first African American president. But with Trump, every president's been white except Obama. Every president has been Caucasian. Every president besides Obama has been Caucasian. What is Donald Trump doing more than all these other Caucasian daggone presidents that has people up in arms, ready to fight, getting in their feelings when you talk about the Make America Great Again hat? What is up with this shit? And why are a lot of Negroes jumping ship to this coon shit. Because I feel if you support Donald Trump and you're black, you might need to be tested for mental illness. And I got friends that daggone like him or voted for him, and I'm like, yo, that shit don't make no sense. And all of this shit this dude done said, I've said it before. Donald Trump can come up with a cure for AIDS, cancer, world hunger, and bipolar depression. It wouldn't matter. You know why it wouldn't matter? Because he's done so much shit to get to the White House. And once he got in the White House, things he's done, things he's said, actions that he's done, it don't matter. It's like saying, you know what? I'm a billionaire. I donate billions of dollars to cancer research and AIDS research, but I like to touch little boys on the side. All of that shit is irrelevant to that point. You see what I'm saying? That's Donald Trump. It's like he couldn't win without starting some shit. And the shit he started is dividing this country. Now, look, at the end of the day, white people really don't like black people. Black people really don't like white people. Not all, but some. And black people don't like police, and police don't like black people. Not all, but some. But at the end of the day, before Donald Trump, all of that shit was hidden. All of that shit was not out in the open. We could get along. We could get along without having to like each other. That dude is Donald Trump has given a free pass for them to say, you know what? Do what you gonna do. Let's bring it back to the old days. I don't remember when America was great. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm from the Bronx. I don't know how many people have had a gun pointed to their face as a 12-year-old child by the police. 43rd Precinct. They killed Amadou Diallo in the Bronx on Story Avenue. I don't know how many people could say before stop and frisk was a thing and we had social media, I don't know how many people could say they will, you know what? I was walking home from work one day, and the undercover police pulled me over, pulled a fucking. It was a blue. I remember it like it was plain as day. I'm walking up Quimby Avenue, and they jumped in front of me in a blue Caprice cop car, undercover car. Literally jumped on the sidewalk. Put your hands up. Checked me. Boom, 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 boom. I got a Walmart vest on. I mean, Kmart vest on. Why your heart beating so fast? You just hit me. You almost just hit me with a fucking car. That's the world that black people live in. But with Donald Trump in office, this shit is just compounded exponentially to the highest level of pistivity that people can. You have people out here. You have white people wearing these "Make America Great Again" hats, looking for trouble. But they'll be quick to say something about Black Lives Matter, who protest. Then they'll be quick to say something about Antifa. I don't even know who the fuck Antifa is. It's just like the new governor in Georgia makes a comment. He's going to clean up the gangs in Georgia. They need to go to Florida or Tennessee or Alabama, but don't stay here. And you know what my response is to that? What gangs is he talking about? Is he talking about the white supremacist Aryan Nation gangs, the KKK? Or is he just talking about all the black gangs? Or the gangs that they say are Mexican? But this Make America Great Again shit, it's really just for white folks, man. And everybody else that's black, they looking like Samuel L. Jackson in the Django. And then the other Latinos, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans, some of the Dominicans and some of the Puerto Ricans, not all, they think that they really going to get a seat at the table. You got to realize this, man. When it comes to global extermination, everybody's going to have their time. Because you got to figure like this. If The United States treated black people and still treat black people a certain way. They've been treating them for 100 years. They just got more subtle with it. Eliminate all the black people. Who's next? The Mexicans. Then after the Mexicans, who's next? The Puerto Ricans. Then after the Puerto Ricans, who's next? The Dominicans. A lot of people want this country the way that it was meant to be. A country full of white people. Don't matter if some of the white people is poor. Don't matter if some of the white people are wealthy. That is their balance. Everyone else does not have a stake in this country unless they're working for free. That's all this shit is. Like, you got dudes out here driving with daggone Confederate flags on their trucks and shit. You drive it if you represent the Confederate flag, if you wear the Confederate flag, you are okay with the Confederate flag, you are okay with slavery. But this is another thing that people that like Donald Trump and people that have this idea of white supremacy and white pride, they like to change the narrative. They'll make it seem like the Confederates, the Confederate soldiers and the reason the Confederates were fighting, make it seem like they were in the wrong. They weren't in the wrong. But at the same time, look, at the end of the day, slaves were freed because they needed numbers to fight against the Confederacy. That's it. And they were all fighting over slavery. Slavery and economics and capitalism and labor. Lincoln knew he couldn't win the war without niggas. That's all that shit was. Like with anything, if you look at the freeing of the slaves, that blueprint has been going on after that until now. Whether it comes with feminism, whether it comes with LGBTQT, every organization really doesn't care about what you look like. They just need the numbers. To the point where they'll recruit children to their agenda if they seem fit or if they can train them into thinking the way that they want them to think. But we live in a country right now that is so divided because of Donald Trump. It wasn't divided when Obama was president. It wasn't divided when Bush or Clinton was president or other Bush or Reagan. We had our problems, we had our scandals, this, that, and the third. But you didn't have to worry about conflict because of somebody wearing a fucking hat and thinking that they own this shit. And a lot of these daggone redneck dudes that's wearing these Make America Great Again hats ain't got no money, ain't got no wealth. And if you look at their lineage, their families wasn't wealthy in the South. Not all white people had money in the South and plantations and this, that, and the third. So it's just saying I'm better than you because of the color of my skin. But then when black people try to show some sort of pride for themselves, they always get kicked down. We shouldn't be thinking that way. We should be thinking as equals. But if we think as equals, we're by default not equal to white people if we're thinking that we're equal because they don't see us as equals. I don't want to be their equals. I don't want them to try to be my equal. But when I'm trying to uplift my people, I shouldn't be criticized. And this is what a lot of coons do. Coons will criticize black people trying to uplift and say something positive about themselves and others like them, but will never say anything negative about white people that say negative shit on black people, use stereotypes, try to use negative examples of black people. And like with any race, you have good people, you have bad people. Don't pool us all together. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not a deadbeat dad. Everybody's not a deadbeat parent. Everybody's not on welfare. Everybody's not on food stamps. But this is the rhetoric that we live in with the content that goes out there. And at the end of the day, a lot of white people don't know how to be around. Look, and I'll say it on both ends. A lot of black people don't know how to act around white people, and a lot of white people don't know how to act around black people. We only know what we see on TV. I had a bitch that I used to work for when I was working at Emory, and I think she used to watch a lot of the ghetto TV, Basketball Wives and Housewives of Atlanta, this, that, and the third. And she would try to get a rapport with black people off of what she saw off of TV because she wasn't around white people. I mean, she wasn't around black people growing up. So, how can you learn how to deal with a person if you've never been around a person? You go off of the content that you've been fed all your life. You had Dawson's Creek, and you also had Boys in the Hood. You see what I'm saying? So, I digress, but at the end of the day, look, with Donald Trump in office, it's not right, it's not fair to blame everything that he's doing, that he's done, that he says. It's not fair to change the narrative and then try to rubber band it, throw it back at Democrats, Obama, Hillary Clinton. At the end of the day, Hillary Clinton and Obama, they're not even in office anymore. They're retired politicians. They're not there. They don't matter. It's time for people to start taking responsibility of what they do and what they say. And it's time to stop. It's time to stop bailing out this dude that's in the White House. Call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And one more thing about, and I hear a lot of people say, a lot of people use this word, use this term, and it's very disrespectful. If you don't agree with what the Republicans are doing, if you don't agree with what Donald Trump is doing, they call you a liberal, a hippie liberal or a filthy liberal. To me, that's the equivalent of calling somebody a nigger. It's a more subtle way of calling somebody a nigger, an uneducated, unliked, just it makes it calling people liberals. Like I said, is a subtle way of calling somebody a nigger without calling them a nigger. A lot of people don't get it. A lot of people do. So when you got these tough guys on social media and you say something about Trump or you respond to an article that is in the news about Donald Trump and they say, "Oh, there's some liberal Democrat, there's some liberal shit. You one of these dumb hippie liberals." Just be a man. Say you a filthy nigga instead of being so subtle with your disrespect, because that's all it is, subtle disrespect. But at the end of the day, it's still disrespect. Rails Rants Reloaded. I appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share, hit the follow button. This, that, and the third. If y'all want free stock, it's going to be a link in the description. Peace.